Hi everyone, and welcome to the final week of Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 3, Down the Garden Path. We've made it, although mine's not finished. We've been seeing heaps on Instagram and on Facebook of people that have finished theirs. Well done. Can you even imagine how many stitches you've done in your piece? They're phenomenal, what we're seeing. They're just beautiful, and they're also different, which is amazing. So mine's still progressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little update on, I've worked on a little bit in the past few days, and what I still need to do. And then I'm going to show you how I would attach it to my spool. So firstly, this is the start of mine where I did my wildflowers. What I want to do at this beginning part is I have these lovely bits of embroidery. I'm going to fill the background in with some green fabric. And then this is where I'm going to sort of stitch these down onto the fabric. And then in here I'm going to do down the garden path. Down the garden path. Is that right? Yes. So I'm going to embroider that in the middle there. So I just wanted to show you that so you have an idea. So this will be basically, if I'm on camera, so down the garden path will be on there, and then eventually this will be the first part that rolls onto my spool. You could actually roll it the other way and have the title on the outside. I might do that. I'll decide later. Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking for that. I'm just going to throw that to the side. So what have I worked on? Oh, I took out that door that I didn't like that was there ages ago, and I decided I've got to wash away the erasable pen. I haven't done that yet. That I would just embroider a little, it's meant to be a rusty French garden gate. Some little posts on the side. I'm going to do some greenery and some flowers on the posts. And then I'm going to have my little path that comes down behind my lady who is feeding the chickens at the veggie garden. So the veggie garden needs to be completed. I think I might do some embroidery on here, some bits and pieces. I definitely want to embroider the rooster, maybe the birds, we'll see. I need to finish my veggie garden, haven't touched that for ages. I need to, I've done a little bit of cantha stitching here and there. I need to finish off with some more there. I need to finish this pot. Am I on screen? This pot here, I need to finish this one. At the bottom all around here it needs to be garden, so I've got a lot of embroidery to do along under my mouse and under my pond and next to my chairs and stuff like that. I've done some cantha stitching in places, and I'll add some more. I'll do some doodle stitching too, like some different stitches, French knots, things like that. I might do some seed stitch to flatten out some of the fabric. Even though this is stitched down with that tiny little running stitch, I'll do some extra stitching. So the big thing I've worked on, and I've just still got a little bit to do on this one, the darker colour and a little bit there, but pretty much my rose is finally done. This took forever. Bit of a loose thread there, doesn't matter. So yeah, I've used so many different types of threads. They're all wools, but different thicknesses. Okay, so just focus you up here. So I do have just a little bit to do there and a little bit up here that I haven't finished. A few gaps. But I'm really pleased with how that came out. And being wool, it's nice to touch. So you saw my sort of garden last week, and then I've added in my extra wonky, it's a bit crooked, extra birdhouse with a couple of birds here. Added in this lovely piece of dyed lace that I did, and then I have more here. So what I'm thinking of doing, I'm thinking of getting some nice embroidery to go there. And then I've got a little garden quote that I'm going to stitch on. Either that, or I was thinking of getting a piece of fabric and stitching my garden quote, and tying it on so it becomes like my tie that wraps around. I might do that, I'm not sure yet. Still working on what I want to do on this end. So there is a bit of work to do, but I'm happy I've got my rose done finally. Did my garden gate. I have some embellishing. This is a bit boring here, so I need to add a bit in here as well, and I know what I'm doing for my title. All right, so today's the day that we show you how we're going to finish off our pieces. So obviously I can't actually finish this off because it's not finished on the front. but I'm going to show you in theory how to do it, what your different options are. So Rach might be just leaving hers blank on the back. It's actually quite nice seeing all the stitches on the back, but I'm going to cover mine because I have some lovely floral fabric that I want to put on the back. And the first thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you this lovely snippet, which I think I showed at the beginning, made by our friend Pam from Pandora's Junk Journals. And I'm going to show you pretty much the idea of how the snippet will attach. So Pam's done the lovely garden snippet for me, which is absolutely gorgeous. And then on the back, she has a lovely piece of fabric. So this is how you would cover up your back. So you would cut your piece of fabric, fold it neatly so that it fits the length of your spool. And then, Pam Pennison. Did I pronounce that right, Pam? And then you have an extra piece of fabric that you flip over and you tuck, bit of fabric extra that she would have folded over, and she's tucked it under here and then stitched it down, just down across there. And it's really tight, like that is not moving. She might have, I'm not sure if you did, but you could even put a bit of PVA on the wood and on the fabric so that it holds in place and it doesn't move. Like that is solid. So on the edge, there's two different ways you can do this. So Pam has done, just looking, Pam has done a whip stitch, which is what I would be thinking I would be doing. So just focus you. So whip stitch, just where you're coming over the edge on an angle and capturing this piece of fabric and the front snippet. The other stitch you could do, if you wanted to, you could also do a blanket stitch, which would work as well. So I'm going to show you, you've kind of got the idea from Pam's lovely snippet. I'm going to show you in theory what I would be doing. I'm just going to roll hers up. So yummy. There's so much work in this, Pam. I love it. I think I want to add some more buttons, and in my blank spaces, like I might add some buttons and things like that, beads, embellishments. So let's have a look. So this will be my snippet roll, my spool, sorry. And this is my lovely fabric, my lovely floral fabric that I want to put on the back. Now, I don't think, I'm sorry, I can't zoom out anymore. My camera's not high enough. But my snippet is quite long. I'd say we're looking at, by the time I'm done, it's probably at least 1.5 meters to almost 2 meters. This fabric is not that long, although I have several pieces of it. I may have to cut it and then join it, which is fine because I do have lots. And you could add the extra bit by machine stitching it. That would make it really solid. The only thing that would be machine stitched on my thing. Now, if we flipped it over on the back with my piece of fabric, I've got two choices. So I could, if I wanted to, just butt the raw edges up together and stitch them and whip stitch. So I'd whip stitch along there. Won't take too long. If you've ever made a quilt and you've done the binding, when you you've machined sew on that binding on and then you flip it over to do the hand stitching, it's kind of like that. But I think I'm going to neaten up the edge of mine, just the way Pam has done hers. And I will iron a fold and then I will butt it up. So I've got a couple of these, I think they're Wonder Clips or something like that. Use them in quilting. I've got a whole heap of these. And what I would just do, you could do it with pins as well. I would just fold it over and just line my edge up. Okay, and using these clips is really easy. You're not going to get poked with any pins. I know I've got a whole heap of these somewhere. I just have to find them. I've got a bag of them. Okay, and then quite simply I'd whip stitch, and same on the end, So, sorry, that would be my end piece. So my title will actually be embroidered on there. And same on the end, I would fold it over, line it up, and whip stitch around it. Okay, so that's how you'd get it there. Now the very end piece to wrap around your spool. So let's pretend, hopefully this is making sense. I'm sorry, I've got like a million things on my table. I'm going to show you different threads that you could stitch with as well. So let's pretend that this is now the very end part, and this is the part that I will wrap around my spool like that. Okay, so that's your end part. What I would do, my fabric would be longer. So let's just lie the fabric down first so you can see. Okay, so there's it. Let's say it's cut there. I'm not going to cut it yet, but this is the fabric I'm going to use. And then that would be folded over. Okay. I'm just going to, let me just move a couple of things. I'm going to have a bit of extra fabric. So let's say that's folded over and I've lined it up on my edge. Okay, and it would be ironed, the edge, so that it's not going to be coming undone. Okay, so I might even have an extra piece here that extends. So let's say I wrapped it around my spool this way. Whoops. You'd have a nice, I haven't got it cut, so it's a bit awkward, but that's what I'd then stitch in place. Or what I could do is leave that flap up. Actually, this might be easier. Pin that in place, or clip that in place, stitch it along there, and then you'd attach it. But you'd have to line it up so that basically the end of your thing is just attached to here, because otherwise it'd be too awkward for you. So the first thing I'd do is I'd get my backing fabric and I'd get the length I need. I'd join it if I need to, all that kind of stuff. Iron my hem. Give myself, depending on the thickness of your spool of this part, give yourself enough fabric on the end here to wrap around it. So that would wrap around. So thinking about that, I've just had to play with it. I'd actually attach this first. You can even, if you want to, just do a little running stitch along the edge there to keep that edge down. So wrap that around your spool, stitch that down straight along there, and then I'd attach. I would have lined my piece up better, so this would be the end of my thing, so then I'd line it up so it covers the join, so you won't see the stitching. Okay, and that's where I'd then stitch it. Does that make sense? I hope so. Sorry, things just come to me as I'm working them out on camera. The other thing I wanted to say was actually you could do the whip stitch, you could do blanket stitch, you could also just do running stitch if you wanted to. So there's some different threads that you could stitch with. You may want your threads visible, or you may want them to kind of drift into the background a little bit more, like be a bit more invisible. So if I was wanting them to be a little bit more invisible, I might just use a plain cotton or even a green one that would blend in with my fabric there. If I was doing the whip stitch or blanket stitch and I wanted it to be more visible, you could use a perle cotton to have it stand out, or even a really bright colour to contrast. Or you could even use, this is beautiful hand-dyed wool. So I'd actually quite like it to be visible, like it is on Pam's. Some parts you can see it, like you can't really see it so much on the front, just a little bit. On the back, it kind of blends in because it's a cream colour. And it looks like, Pam, you might have used a perle cotton. Perle cotton's going to be nice and strong. This is not going to be as strong. So I'd probably lean towards a perle or even a bright wool. Even I've got a lovely, I'm going to show you. This is the wool that Mum rejected. I'm going to show you. Give me one sec. Sorry. Just getting it. So this is a hand-dyed wool. Rach, Mum and I bought a whole heap from the, it's from the, what's it called? The Granny Square or Morris & Co. Morris & Co is the big store in the city. We will give you more choice. Lots of lovely hand-dyed wools. This lovely pink wool. Mum rejected it. I gave some to Rach, but Mum didn't want it. I'd love that. Or even, you know what would be good? Putting some different, changing your colours up, having some different colours. I'd love that. Pop of neon pink. So yeah, Morris & Co. Morris, Morris and Co. If you're in Sydney, it's on York Street. And then they also have a smaller store, I think it's Kings Road in Newtown. It's just up from Sydney Uni. And it's a cute little store called, I think it's called Granny Square. But it's the same company. Morris & Co. is bigger and has more choices. You have to buy these in really big skeins, which can be expensive. But all we did is we all picked some and then we shared it with each other. We've got lots of lovely, I'll just show you. We've got some lovely, I've got more than this, but this is some of them. And, you know, they're probably for knitting and making socks and crochet. Whoops, dropped one. These are just some of them. These aren't even mine. These are ones that, some of the ones Mum and Rach gave me. So we bought lots of colours and variegated ones of different thicknesses. These are Mum's balls. So this is the book size ball. This would be the size ball I was giving Mum and Rach, and then Mum gave us this. Thanks, Juju. Like this would have been, I think, from Rach or me. And so, yeah. Don't know what that one is. That's just a plain one. Anyway, so yeah, we buy them and we share because, you know, we're never going to use the whole skein. There's huge skeins. I've got a lot more than this. I got a lot of really bright ones that I bought as well. Lots of ones with neon colours. But anyway, yummy wools. I'm getting distracted. So the other thing that I like is how Pam has put a bit of sari silk on there so you can wrap it around and then wrap it around the button. I'm either going to embroider my quote onto some linen or a piece of fabric, which will be folded over like a wrap that will go around like that and I'll have the quote, or I'll put the quote on the end and then I'll put some kind of little tie to go around it as well. But the button idea is really cute, putting a button so you can finish it off. And then Pam had it in a gorgeous bag that she made me as well. Oh, and Pam, I'm giving you lots of Pam love today. I received your envelope today. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Number one, that tea-dyed envelope was amazing. You got such a great result. And number two, thank you so much for the little treasure inside. It's definitely going in my next project. I was very excited to receive that. So thank you, Pam. So just a little message to Pam. She sent me a sweet little piece of embroidery that she'd done, which I can add to my treasure hunt, which starts next week. Okay, so not going to be a long video today. I'm going to jump off and keep working on this. My goal is to try and get this done while I'm on holidays, although I've got a lot of bits and pieces to do. And once I am finally finished, I think what I'll do is when I'm fully done, which who knows when that will be, don't hold your breath. Once it's ready to go on the snippet roll, I'll come back and show you the completed project. So I really hope you have had fun exploring the journey down the garden path, and we look forward to treasure hunt next week. So just a few people have been asking about size of wall hanging, stuff like that. Now, just to make it clear, you do not have to do a wall hanging. We are doing wall hangings because we're doing something a bit different. We've done books. We've done 2 books. I've done the snippet roll. I think Rach is going to hang her garden path down her wall. She's got a spot for that. The next one for me is a wall hanging. I'm pretty sure Rach is doing a wall hanging or something, a framed piece. I'm not sure. I don't know what size it's going to be yet. I will show you next week. I'm using a vintage linen and red French tea towel to go with my theme, my French vintage theme. And it's quite big. I may not use the whole thing. It'll basically be just do it as you go, and it'll end up being as big as it is. You know, I don't know how big it's going to be. We'll see. So I'll show you the tea towel next week, and we'll get everyone started with the first prompt, which I'm excited about because we haven't done this prompt before, and I am excited about this one. All right, so thank you for watching. I hope you all have an idea of how to finish it. The only other thing I'd say, if you want to leave your back raw, you totally can. You might just add a pretty piece of fabric here and just attach that, and then your back's raw. I mean, does it really matter? Just shows all your work. Okay, so your choice. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.